Danny.
So, this is a story for everyone out there. Not exactly the story time you're used to in the chat room, alright? We'll get to that.
Is it a story about a kitty?
This is a story about a kitty named Kyle, in fact. Your kitty named Kyle. I visited New Orleans, visited Dana down in Nolans. New Orleans.
You did, in fact, do that. Technically, you were in a suburb, but let's not kill the story.
A little late, but thank you.
Hey, no problem.
And we discovered something. See, you know, Dana and Will and everyone in the chat room, you guys kind of know I have personality quirks, let's say.
No.
That's one way of putting it, sure.
It's so normal.
That's one way of putting it. And for some reason, Dana, and I don't know why I did this, and I don't think you know why I did this either.
I don't care.
Apparently, Kyle has decided to come in and insert his own version of the story.
Yeah, he's been telling his side. You're just not listening.
See, Kyle was on the floor of the living room, and he really wasn't paying any attention to me, even though he kind of was. He was kind of being a cock tease, and I decided to call his name. I was like, Kyle, come here, and he kind of looked at me funny, and I decided to take it up a notch, and I went, Kyle, and he looked at me even stranger, not in the curious head tilting look that dogs sometimes give you, in the what the fuck was that look that cats give you when they're scared. His ears went down, his eyes went wide, and I decided to take it up even further and went, Kyle! And he bolted. No, actually, no, he didn't bolt. Excuse me.
No. He was so transfixed on you.
Yeah, he was transfixed on the voice, and then Dana decides to. Yeah, he's so transfixed on the voice that Dana decides to touch his tail, and he bolts for the other room.
I have never seen my cat do that before.
He did not.
He went like, oh my god, it was the funniest thing.
So if you're wondering,
for the rest of the time,
your cat is scarred for life.
If you're
wondering, the time that he was here, he kept doing that, and the cat kept freaking the shit out.
Well, I thought someone was sneaking up behind him, so now that voice is
stuck in his head.
Stuck in his head because he thinks
here's the funny thing.
Behind him.
Now, if you guys were wondering what I was doing in New Orleans, that's exactly what I was doing in New Orleans. I was trying to find Kyle.
Fucking with my cat.
Fucking with her cat. That cat, by the end of my stay, by the way, my stay was only like a day and a half long. That cat, by the end of my stay there, avoided me. If I went into a room and he was in it, he fucking left. And 2 weeks later, by the way, today, we tested it out over the speakers. And Dana, what was the result earlier before what?
He bolted out of my arms and scratched the shit out of me. In the
process. You realize your cat now, every time he hears that voice, has nom flashbacks, right? He's got PTSD now.
PTSD, yes.
Kyle!
You did. You also left a floater.
Oh yeah,
that stayed for like 7 flushes.
Listen, alright, I gave it 2 courtesy flushes, and then I figured after the second flush it was done.
Oh, you gave 2? Okay, well then it lives through 8 flushes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I flushed it once. By the way, I flushed it once, and none of it went down, okay? I flushed it a second time, and most of it went down. So,
either this was a really crappy toilet, pun not intended, but it's there, or that was a really big monster turd, one or the other.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Mostly from column A, Will.
Mostly from column A.
No. It was fucking hilarious. I was gonna eBay it, because you know, you've got fans who want to see it.
They want to see the floating LordKaT
you do, somewhere.
Oh,
yes, but then would come the question. But then would come the question: who would pick up the turd?
Pick it up? Fuck that! I would just take pictures.
Yeah, you just get pictures. You won't get the turd.
Kyle!
You just get pictures of the turd and eBay the pictures of the turd.
He can't hear you, Jason. I have my headphones on. I don't know what part of that you don't fucking understand.
You've done it for your own protection. You realize, Dana, next week, you realize next week you're going to have to be clothed so we can prove to the stream that the cat is deathly afraid of this.
I should totally do that.
Yes. You have to have it on camera.
I hate my camera, though, so much.
Doesn't matter.
I had it on once, and it was so shitty.
Look, the chat room didn't believe me about...
Get a new one.
Listen, the chat room didn't believe me about the woman who said she scooped the cancer out of her chest. Well, we fucking found it.
You did?
We did find it, yeah.
Play it.
I played it yesterday. It was on LordKaT Live.
Oh, alright, I'll look it up.
I didn't see it yesterday.
I didn't upload the LordKaT Live yet, but I mean, I have to go actually find him. We're on Storytime right now. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I don't want to show Cancer Scoop.
Cancer Scoop's her new name.
Cancer Scoop.
Have you heard my new indie band?
Cancer Scoop.
Cancer Scoop? Cancer Scoop. No, actually, it sounds like some sort of, like, Kickstarter. No, it sounds like a really bad charity. Cancer Scoop.
That's a terrible name for a charity. It's a great name for a metal band.
By the Salvation Army. Cancer Scoop.
One lump or two, guys. But yeah, your cat is forever scarred by me. You know that, right? Traumatized.
You horrible person.
It's been 2 weeks.
I know.
I mean, at what point is he going to get over it?
By now.
I don't know. Does anybody really get over you?
I don't think so. Does anybody ever really forget me? I mean, really?
I don't think anybody's going to forget you.
No, I'm going to leave my mark on the world, man.
Yeah, in my toilet.
Well, listen, if it means going to everyone's toilets and leaving a floater that lasts for 8 or 9 flushes, I'm cool with it.
That's your next tour of the U.S.
Right. LordKaT's signature exit, the giant turd that you can't get rid of.
Oh, God.
So, when you guys want to go to the forums and pick out a story, we can create a story.
Okay.
Forums.lordkat.com. And there's Storytime, the show.
LordKaT.com. LordKaT Clogs America.
LordKaT Clog.
I love that. Good idea.
Oh, man.
Storytime.
Storytime, the show. Please tell us about how you fought against Optimus Prime's evil twin with Merlin.
Is that really what you want me to tell a story about?
I don't know. That was just the first one.
I want to hear.
I want you to read off the first one. I want you to read off what sounds interesting.
That is interesting.
I much prefer the time that a drunk Kirk Cameron knocked on your door. That one actually seems a bit more interesting.
Who's Kirk Cameron again?
Really?
Used to be on Growing Pains, now crazy conservative Christian.
Banana is proof that God exists.
I have no idea who he is. I don't pay any attention to him.
Okay. There are only 2 pages here.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, so we could do. All right. Which one did you want me to do, Dana?
Please tell us about how you fought against Optimus Prime's evil twin with Merlin.
All right. I need a second to think here. What's the setting here with Optimus Prime's evil twin with Merlin? This is back in the days of yore when time travel was still possible. We went to the future, to the year 1998, when Merlin and I would get together and become best lovers. Unfortunately, our love was not to be, as the evil twin of Optimus Prime had recently separated his soul from his goody two-shoes brother, and his incestuous lover Beetlejuice. They formed...
Ooh, what happens if he comes and he screams his name 3 times?
He becomes Super Prime, the Optimus Destroyer. And Super Prime, the Optimus Destroyer, was running amok in New York City when he suddenly vanished and went to the year 1876. That's when Merlin and I decided we needed to fuck our way backwards in time. And we did to 1876 in our new time fuck mobile with a carriage and a horse. And it's really cool looking. And we went back to 1876. Merlin said to me,
amazing.
Merlin said to me, we must unleash the power of the horse carriage turnbuckle, and he took out the magical pro wrestling turnbuckle of the horse carriage, and he said unto the horse, "Horse, please grant me your power and strength so that we may defeat the evil twin of Optimus Prime." The horse looked at him and then pooped on his shoes because the horse had been taken over by the evil twin of Optimus Prime. Merlin, being distraught, looked at me and said, "Looks like you're going to have to do this on your own," and left for the planet Mercury. That's where I stepped in. I took a gun and I shot the evil twin of Optimus Prime, and he died. The end.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there was no
there a
horse
kitty?
fucking. No, there was no kitty, but the unresolved plot twist there is that the evil horse is still running amok, shitting on people's feet.
Oh.
Sadly. Could be.
I wonder how many flushes that takes.
I don't know. I mean, do they get enough fat in their diet? You know. What's the next one?
Someone wants to know how you accidentally glued your nipples to Nash's hair.
It's not a hard story to tell. I mean, all right. So when I was on my vacation, I went down to South Carolina, and I paid a visit to Nash for Radio Dead Air, and I said to Nash,
"Is this an actual story?"
This is an actual story. And I said to Nash, "Listen, I want to make Radio Dead Air really interesting for you tonight." And then I lifted up my shirt and I said, "Listen, I'm going to draw a big happy face with my man tits, and that's going to be and that's going to be my representation of me on the show." And he said to me, he said, "You know, that's a really terrible idea. I mean, listen, I mean, I don't want to see your man tits, A, so please put your shirt back on, and B, you don't have any hair." And I said, "Fuck, I could fix that." And I took out some super glue and I super glued his hair to my tits. And he really didn't appreciate that. So I had to try and get his hair off, but I couldn't, so we had to go down to Lowe's to find something to remove the super-glued hair from my man tits, and the guys at Lowe's looked at me and said, "You know, this is probably the strangest case I've ever seen, but our epoxy remover's down on aisle 8. So we went down to aisle 8 and we poured the epoxy remover on my stomach, but unfortunately it forced me, unfortunately really didn't do anything except change my skin to a very, very, very deep purple, and his hair was still stuck. So we went to the customer service desk and said, "Hey, we used this whole 2-gallon tub of epoxy remover on my stomach, and nothing came off except my skin changed color to purple." And the customer service representative said, "You know, this isn't a sex house. You know that, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to remove his super-glued hair from my stomach." And she said, "Well, you're not supposed to use epoxy remover on super glue. That doesn't work. You need to use glue remover." And she said, "That's down aisle 6. So I went down aisle 6, but we couldn't find any glue remover. So eventually I just chopped Nash's head off, tore his hair off my stomach, then restitched his head back to his body, and then we went back and we did Radio Dead Air.
And that, kids, is how I met your mother.
Dun, 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 dun. Just so you know, there's
I believe it.
Well, I mean, just so you know, it's the reanimated.
All right, truth or a
Nash.
troll, everybody.
Truther or troll. Totally legitimate. What's the next one?
Legit.
Oh, is it my turn again?
You can use the chat room or you can use the forums, either one. The chat room can post suggestions if they want to. Then they double team J.O.
Tell us about your heroic fight with an alligator in the New York sewers to get your sandwich back.
This happened a few years ago while I was still working at Brainfuse. I worked up in Manhattan, and then on my break I decided I wanted to go get a sandwich, but I didn't want to go to Subway. I went to this nice little Italian place. It's out of the way. It's a little corner deli, and I went there. I got myself a very, very, very nice roast beef prosciutto and hot sopressata sandwich. It was very, very nice. Had some hot peppers on it too. Very nice, very good, very. I always get it. It was $8, but you know what? It's only $8, especially up in Manhattan. Especially the fucking prices up in Manhattan. Sometimes these sandwiches go for like $12, $15, $20. $8 for a very nice Italian sandwich like that was a really good deal to me. Man, put it in a bag. I thanked the man. I said, "I can't wait to do business with you again." He sort of smiled at me and then shook his head, wondering why I didn't pay him any money when I just walked out the door and left. That's really not. That's really not the story there, but he was just kind of wondering why I didn't pay, and I was still kind of wondering why I didn't pay either. I think it's because I'm kind of stupid sometimes, and I just get tired, and I don't really pay attention to what's going on, and I think the financial transaction had already happened. And so since I didn't pay, he got a cop, and the cop chased after me and knocked me down, and my sandwich went flying through the air and into the sewers, and I saw it land into the... I saw it land in the sewers, and I said to the cop, "Sir, you must get off me. I must retrieve my sandwich." And the cop said to me, "You're under arrest for theft." And I told him, "It's not theft. That sandwich is alive. I've got to save it." I threw the cop off of me into midtown traffic, where a tractor trailer took him and whisked him away on his windshield like a bug towards somewhere, I don't know where. But I jumped off and I leapt and I tore my shirt off and I said, "This is a job for Superfats." So Superfats dove into the sewer. Superfats dove into the sewer, and down into the sewer he saw the evil cockroaches carrying the sandwich away into the unknown darkness. Well, I had to use my night vision and my heat-seeking missiles to find it, and I finally ran down the sewers. The cockroaches were taking the sandwich to the Mother Queen, the alligator of the New York sewers. They called her the Mother Queen because they don't know how to speak anything else. In fact, that's what cockroaches say all the time. All they're saying is Mother Queen, Mother Queen, Mother Queen, Mother Queen, Mother Queen, because they don't really have a language, and I had to give them something to say. The Mother Queen alligator said, "This here is my sandwich now. It is too good for you. You are not allowed to eat it. It is mine forevermore." And then I said, "No, it's my sandwich. Give it back." And she said, "Oh, did you pay for this sandwich?" I said, "Not yet. I made a little mistake. I was just going to go back and pay for it." I said, "Ha! Then it's my sandwich by legal binding definition of bullshit." And I said, "Well, that's bullshit, and I'm going to take the sandwich back." So I tried to take the sandwich back, and he bit my arm off. That fucking cunt bit my arm off. So I slapped her across the nose. I took my arm back, and I shoved it back in its socket. And I said, "Look, my arm's perfectly fine." Then gave her the middle finger with the arm she just bit off, and she said, "That's not right. You slapped me, sir. How very rude of you." But she was talking to no one because I had swiped the sandwich back and ran the fuck out of there because there was a fucking alligator in the sewers. You know how small those sewers are? You have no maneuverability whatsoever. So I got the fuck out of there with my sandwich, chomped down on the sandwich, ate a cockroach, and died from the poisoning.
Totally selling these movie rights to Michael Bay.
Wait. You ate the cockroach but didn't finish the sandwich?
It died.
Oh, yeah.
Duh! Weren't you listening?
I was busy eating my cookies.
Eating your what?
Ugh.
Cookies.
Oh, your cookies.
Your
Cookies.
Yes, because I can't pronounce anything when I'm eating cookies.
You're a failure at life, Will.
Stop being a failure in life. I got better, though. So, you know, all's good. I found out, though, that the sandwich had rotten, and I decided to eat it anyway, and then after I got better, I got sick. But, you know, I got a week off of work for it.
I got a story idea for you, but it's Will's turn.
No, go ahead.
He's passing, so.
Tell us about what happened to your pants after they left you in South Carolina.
Ah, the pants in South Carolina. Well, I went to a Motel 6 in South Carolina, and unfortunately, I had taken off my pants to get into the shower, and I had put new clothes on, but I never put my pants back into my bag, so I left my pants in South Carolina. There in South Carolina, they laid for 2 days until the maids came. When they found the pants in South Carolina, they decided that they would fit. They decided it would fit their little kid who was getting really, really fat from eating all that McDonald's. So she took the pants and shoved them into her and shoved them into her little bag. Only the pants at that point had grown, and they had grown something fierce. See, the pants had already had very, very, very bad stains on them, and they were only growing worse because it's a Motel 6. And as we all know, Motel 6s aren't the most cleanliest places on the planet. Well, this pair of pants was not having any of this, had enough of this shit, and decided to leap out of her handbag. And the pants told the lady, "Listen, ma'am, if you're going to carry me around, you are going to carry me around in style. I demand a stroller, a bottle, and a bib." And the lady said, "I don't speak English." And the pants said to her, "Pah!"
She said that in English?
Yes, she said that in English. She said, "I don't speak English in English."
Okay.
And the pants said,
Okay.
"Pah! I don't care." And he left. The pants left the Motel 6 in South Carolina. He walked down to Nash's place and knocked on his door. Unfortunately, Nash wasn't there at the time because he was driving J.O. to yet another airport. Then he walked away, and he walked for miles and miles and miles. He continued to walk until he reached West Virginia, where he found another pair of pants that looked very, very similar, although less blood-stained. Said to the pants, "What ho there, darling? How can I help you? Can you help me? I am but a lost pair of soulless pants." And the other pair of pants said, "Well, by golly, you're down here in West Virginia. I think you's my cousin. You want to get married?" And the pants said, "Yes, I do." So they got married, and they had pants kids of their own. They now live happily in
I'm
West
gonna
Virginia.
cry.
They now live happily in West Virginia and are great-great-great-great-great-grandparents.
I always cry at weddings.
The wedding,
And then
unfortunately,
the movie
was
rights were
very
sold,
uneventful.
and we got that crap movie dealing with the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
Unfortunately, the wedding was very uneventful. It consisted of 2 cans, a leper, and 3 pots of roasted beans. The beans were the seeing over the ceremony.
Hey,
Wow.
Jason, do you know why lepers really suck at poker?
Because they don't have a lower jaw.
Because they keep throwing in their hands.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
All right, story ideas. Do we
Story
have
ideas,
story
throw 'em at me.
ideas?
I'm going to end this at 1:30, though, because staying up till 2 is not working.
Pussy.
No. Escaping Butcher Bay isn't that interesting.
Let's see. Tell us how you became a werewolf? No, that's boring.
No.
Oh, no. Hey, I live in West Virginia. I think I've met your pants.
Tell us about the time you told a story.
Tell us about the time you told a story. Well, one time while I was on...
you guys.
Well, one time when I was on the stream, I was telling a story to the stream. I believe the story was about how Mario was attacking Zelda and Link was in an incestuous relationship with Luigi and Toad. But as I was telling the story, an alien came down from above and hovered over my head and said unto me, "LordKaT, you must come with me. My town needs you." But I told him, "But my people need me. I must tell them these stories of inanity." And the alien said to me, "No, we will set time free for you. You can return here in a moment's notice." And I said, "Well, that sounds cool, but do I get any hot dogs or anything? I'm kind of hungry." And he said, "No, you have no need to eat. You are fat enough, sir." I said, "Well, that's fair enough." So I went with him.
I don't want a hot dog.
I went with him, and we ascended into heaven. Unfortunately, it took like 17. It took like 17 fucking escalators for me to ascend into heaven. Jeez. And the alien said, "This is heaven. It is being attacked by an unknown source. The problem is we have cockroaches everywhere." I said, "Oh, well, that's not that big of a problem. I mean, New York City's got cockroaches everywhere." And he said, "You do not understand. We're not supposed to have cockroaches in heaven." So I said, "Well, listen, you've got all this magical ascension technology that I can use. I can fix this for you. You can use this magical ascension technology to take all of these cockroaches and ascend them into space and send them into orbit." And so he said, "That's a wonderful idea. Where shall we send them into orbit?" And I said, "Send them to the one place where nobody will notice them, hovering somewhere over New Zealand." And that's how we got the great that's how we got the great cockroach coverage of 1975. Then I went back down and I finished my story and nobody knew I was gone. It was a fantastical adventure into heaven, sending cockroaches over New Zealand to hover there forever and ever. Amen.
Space cockroaches.
Space cockroaches.
That's the point, Dumbledore. You're not supposed to remember that. It happened in an instant.
Yeah, it happened in an instant.
Nobody listens.
God had it happen instantly. Don't you remember?
Did some of them end up on the ceiling of a motel?
Probably. I think they were there to wish me happy birthday, but they were a little late.
Aw, those dicks.
What about the time when you got back at Satan for stealing all of your bagels? Listen, that motherfucker Lucifer, he's got to learn something here, all right? This motherfucker one day, he comes walking up one day, and he's just like, "Oh, what's up, Jason? You got a lot of bagels there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got a lot of bagels there. My dad just died." So, these chicks from Mom's work, they bought us a nice big bagel platter. You know, we had the salmon spread, the lox spread, and all that stuff. It's a lot of bagels, though, and it'll last us a couple of days, so that's pretty cool. And Satan said, "Well, you know what? I'm just going to take your bagels." And I was like, "Oh, that's not fucking cool, dude. That's like in memoriam of my dad bagels. Don't fucking take my bagels." And Satan was like, "Nah, too late, bro. I took them. And my bagels were fucking gone." And I was like, "You know what, Satan? I'm going to get back at you for that one day. I'm going to back at you for that one day, and I swear to God, you're going to fucking regret it." And he said, "Regret it? I'm Satan. I'm going to regret everything I do anyway, so fuck off." And then he left. And I said, "Well, you know what? It's time to fucking get into Minecraft." So I started digging, and I fucking dug, and I 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 dug. I found a corpse, which I think I may have to report to the police, but I'm not sure yet. And then I kept digging. Eventually, I reached the gnomes. The gnomes were like, what the fuck are you doing down here? Jesus Christ. Holy shit, man. And whatever you do, don't say Kyle. And when I didn't say Kyle, I was just asking for directions to hell. And I said, no, we're the gnomes, man. You got to keep going down to the dwarves. They can tell you where hell is. They're by the lava. We're just here up in fucking gnome plant land. And you really haven't dug that far. You're like 5 inches under the ground, dude. How long have you been fucking digging? And I told him, it's been like 6 hours, man. I hardly get any exercise. And Jesus, 6 hours for 5 inches? God, man. You're fucking fat. You're going to have to keep digging. So I kept digging, and I kept digging. Day and night I dug, and eventually, after about 17 years, I hit the dwarves. And the dwarves are like, what the fuck are you doing down here? And I told them, I have come to find Satan. And one of the dwarves said, well, that's fucking stupid because he ain't here, so why are you here? I mean, Jesus Christ, you just crushed 14 of our houses. You murdered at least 20 other dwarves. Get the fuck out of here, man. We're going to have to arrest you. And I said, I just want directions to hell. And he said, well, keep fucking digging. So I kept digging, and I kept digging. And I found a lava patch, and I thought that was hell. So I dove in head first, only my head burnt off. And I figured, well, that's just a lava patch. So I took my body out and regrew my head by masturbating furiously into my neck hole. And then my head regrew. So I dug around the lava hole, and I kept digging down. And I finally reached the center of the earth where I found hell, and I found Satan there. And there that prick was, after 17 years, nourishing himself on my stolen bagels. And I punched that motherfucker in the face. And I said, see, you were going to regret it. And he said, regret what? I only stole one bagel. And I said, wait, you took one bagel? Then it's been 17 years. I thought you stole all of my bagels. He's like, no, man, I just showed up at your house, took a bagel, and left. Well, where'd you get this other bagel from? It's like, I do that all the time. I go to everyone's houses and take their bagels. It's like, just take one bagel. Nobody's going to miss it. It's not that bad of a life. And I was like, oh. Well, why do you do that? And he's like, well, it's really hard to make bagels down here. It's way too hot. The yeast just fucking burns. So I go outside and I just take one bagel and I leave. I figured nobody's going to miss it, you know. And I felt bad for him. So I punched him in the dick. I said, don't steal my bagels, asshole, and I left. I got back at him for stealing my bagel. How do I make these stories?
Take the locks. No.
Why do I make these stories? Why do these stories come into my head? How does this happen? I don't understand.
Satan cursed you because you punched him in the dick?
In the dick.
Probably for punching him in the dick, you're right, yeah.
See? Consequences to everything, Jason.
Tell us the time LordKaT was a playable champion in League of Legends. I'm still a playable champion in League of Legends. It's called Mundo, but the motherfuckers wouldn't pay my licensing fee, so they changed him from LordKaT to Mundo, those sons of bitches at Riot. I swear to God, one of these days, they will have a LordKaT character, or they'll have a Bomar skin for Mundo. Let me tell you. They didn't want to pay my licensing fee of one. I'm still delaying for a joke. One thing per year. Yeah.
What was that thing?
Box of Kraft Easy Cheese macaroni.
Oh gosh, and all I can remember now is your LordKaT Eats where you use the Easy Cheese on the Twinkie Wiener sandwich.
Ah, the wonderful Twinkie Wiener sandwich. You know how Weird Al came to find out about the Twinkie Wiener sandwich? It was actually because of me. You see, when I made the Twinkie Wiener... Well, you see, when I made the Twinkie Wiener sandwich, in my time, UHF had never been made. But I had mentioned that UHF had made the Twinkie Wiener sandwich, and that it was a part of UHF. Well, UHF didn't exist at the time, and the Twinkie Wiener sandwich joke didn't exist. So, I had screwed up. I had screwed up badly. I had broken the timeline. So I had to eat the Twinkie Wiener sandwich, and then after the video had come out, I had to go back in time. And I used my magical time machine that I keep hidden underneath my bed. It's actually a really flat pillow that I've been using for many years, and it's got a couple of stains on them. I think they're squirting stains, but let's not mention that to anyone.
Let's not get into that too much.
Anyway, I used my magical time machine pillow to travel back in time to when UHF was being, to when Weird Al was thinking of doing a movie. And I told Weird Al, I was like, listen, Weird Al, you need to do a movie named UHF, and you need to do a movie that has a joke in it that says Twinkie Wiener Sandwich, and that you love Twinkie Wiener Sandwiches. And the Twinkie Wiener Sandwich is a Twinkie, a Wiener, and Cheese Whiz on it. And he looked at me and said, why in the fuck would I do that? I said, because I fucked up the timeline, and I really need it fixed. Could you help a brother out? And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. Get the fuck out of here. And then he called the police, so I had to get out of there. So I got out of there. So when they were, but he took my idea of making UHF, and he didn't want to use the Twinkie Wiener Sandwich idea. So I snuck in one night and I drugged him. And then I forced him to do the Twinkie Wiener Sandwich scene, which is the only way you can actually consciously eat a Twinkie Wiener Sandwich. And they got the scene done. I fixed the timeline. I went back and I vowed to myself I would never break the timeline like that again. Up until the point on Until We Win when I did Super Castlevania 4. Because that game actually didn't exist. And I had to go back and fix that. But that's another story for another time.
That explains why it keeps on appearing and disappearing from my bookshelf. Okay.
Yeah, it's a game that doesn't actually exist, but it kind of does exist. It's in a quantum state of existence and non-existence.
Yeah.
Actually, it's mostly because I shot the creator of Castlevania into the sun, and it's
well, he kind of deserves it, so
yeah, he does. Tell us about the time you saved the U.S. economy with nothing but hookers and blow. Oh, it's really simple. I had a bunch of hookers and blow, and I said, listen, I'm going to hoard all the hookers and blow from the rest of the world unless you start paying the United States of America lots of fucking money. So every country in the world pulled their money together and started paying the United States of America lots of fucking money. And I let the hookers and blow flow freely throughout the rest of the world. That's why they're illegal here in the United States, because, the rest of the world gets them.
They're everywhere else.
That's the trade-off. They give us money, we give them hookers and blow. It was actually an amazing economic deal. I'm really, really surprised Dan Quayle was behind it at the time. But then again, I'm really surprised. Wow. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm really surprised Dan Quayle was able to wake up in the morning and not just have a massive stroke and die every morning. But I don't know. It's Dan Quayle. I made a fucking Quayle joke in 2012. Tell us as you saved President Lincoln. I actually didn't save President Lincoln, unfortunately. He was shot and killed in the theater. But I did manage to fuck his skull after the bullet went through his brain. Well, it's not really that true. It's more of a rumor that I like to perpetuate because people think I'm this magical time traveler that saves people's lives. Unfortunately, I couldn't save Abraham Lincoln's life, but I did tell him I'd make love to him before he died. So, I mean, he was still technically conscious at the time and bleeding out, so I had to fulfill my patriotic duty. I did.
Well, you do what you have to do.
It's now 1:30 in the morning. I'm going to go to sleep, if you don't mind.
No problem.